of m. Find all the values of m for which both the roots of the equation x square minus 2mx plus x square plus m square minus 1 is equal to 0. X square minus 2mx plus m square minus 1 is equal to 0 are greater than minus 2 but less than 4. Greater than minus 2 but less than 4. So, what is the condition? The roots must lie in between minus 2 and 4. See, yesterday we have given some conditions. So, don't do this. Just listen first. So, minus 2, 4. So, the roots are in between these two numbers. And x square quotient is positive. So, definitely that is open upwards. So, the roots may be equal also. So, it may be like this also. And what are the conditions we have to apply? Delta greater than or equal to 0. Definitely minus b by 2a lies in between minus 2 and 4. And third one, a is x square quotient already positive into f of minus 2 must be positive. F of 4 also positive. And we have to apply all these to get the values of m. Of course, definitely you can do that. See, but sometimes we can do the problem easily. Finding the roots of the equation. So if the roots are somewhat easy to find, then we can do that problem directly. See, what is the roots? What is the formula for roots? X is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. So this is equal to 2m plus or minus root of 4m square minus 4m square plus 4 by 2. So 4m square cancel. That is 2m plus or minus 2 by 2. So divide with 2. M plus or minus 1. The roots are somewhat easy. Then don't go for the conditions. So that conditions will be somewhat difficult for you at this stage to solve. Okay? So simply x is equal to plus or minus 1. And what is the condition given? The roots lie in between. What are the numbers? Are minus 2 and 4 only? Yes. So they should lie in between minus 2 and 4. Therefore, minus 2 less than m plus 1 and less than 4 and minus 2 less than m minus 1 and less than 4. Therefore, it is better to solve these two only. So subtract 1 here, add 1 here, and you have to get the common solutions of these two inequalities and write the number line. So minus 1 to 5. This is minus 1. This is 5. So you have to get the numbers between 1 and 5. Now draw the horizontal lines. And minus 3 and 3. So this is minus 3 and 3 is in between them. So minus 3 to 3 numbers. So draw vertical lines. And the values of m which is satisfy these two inequalities are nothing but the numbers at which we have both horizontal and vertical lines. What are the numbers? Minus 1 to 3. Therefore, final answer is minus 1 to 3. The values of m should lie in between minus 1 and 3. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, Madan has some doubt. Madan?
Yes, sir. Hello.
What is the doubt?
Sir, till now how much chapters are over, sir?
Huh?
till now, how much chapters are over?
Are you a new student?
Sir, between I have not joined some lectures, sir, online.
Okay, students. So whenever class is going on, so you don't ask these questions. So definitely I will give you time at the end of the session. Then you can ask those questions. So because when the topic is continued, definitely there will be some interruption will be there. If you ask the questions
Okay,
like
sir.
that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So definitely I will ask. So I have given you phone number so many times. You can ask there. After the completion of the session, you can ask. Right?
Yes, sir.
So if I, of course, I can say you. I can say you. Then another student ask another doubt. So what is the doubt? Sir, when the holidays will be, sir? So tomorrow or day after tomorrow holidays or not, sir? Then he will ask like that.
Okay,
Then
sir.
another student ask another one. So here doubts means, so containing to, so restrict to this question only, or at least this topic only. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
what topics we have completed? So I will ask another student, what topics we have completed? Akash, raise your hand. Akash, raise your hand. Akash.
Sir, I have to tell from starting, sir, or from when
no
I
problem.
joined?
From starting, you tell.
Sir, we have done logarithms,
Hmm.
and then modulus function, step function,
Hmm.
and then trigonometric equations, and then quadratic equation is going on, sir.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So those are the topics we have completed.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Madan.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. See, the answer is
Yes, sir.
open interval -1, 3. So because we have very short, very little time to take lecture. Just 1 hour is not sufficient actually for us. Because there is so much disturbance like this. Some power may be off, or internet work connection may not be there. So please lower your hand if you don't have any doubts. Preetham.
Sir, here we can use the formula which you gave yesterday, no, sir.
Definitely.
Yes, sir, why not?
First I gave that only. We can use those three conditions. Delta greater than or equal to 0. Minus b by 2a should lie in between -2 and 4. And like that you can use.
Okay, sir.
Definitely you can use. But that is somewhat big. That is somewhat difficult to do. That's why I have given this one.
Yes, sir.
And now today I will give you an interesting result. That is called intermediate value theorem. Intermediate value theorem. So what is that intermediate value theorem? So you observe, suppose the graph is there. The graph is a continuous graph. That means no break. So without lifting, I have to draw the graph. Okay. Suppose there is a point A and there is a point B on x-axis. And for the function y is equal to fx, image of A is this one and image of B is this one. And you have to draw the graph from this point to this point without lifting the pen or without lifting this chalk. So I can draw the graph in so many ways. Like this I can draw, like this I can draw, like this I can draw, like this I can draw. In so many ways I can draw like that. So you see, can you definitely say that? So this graph crosses x-axis? No, we cannot say definitely because it may cross like this. Not only that, it may cross so many times like this, but we cannot guarantee because there are graphs without crossing that x-axis, isn't it? See, but if I draw like this, if I say, so for the function y is equal to f of x, suppose A has image negative and B has image positive, or A image positive, B image negative. And now you have to draw the
Yes, sir.
graph or draw the curve
Yeah.
without lifting the pen or chart from this point to this point. So how to draw? How to draw that? See, suppose I draw like this. Definitely, it crosses x-axis at one point in between A and B. Isn't it? Is it true or not? At least one time. Or you may say like this, sir. So if you go like this, again come this side, sir. Then how you cross x-axis, sir? But again, I have to go there only. I have to go there. Definitely, I have to draw like this. That means at some point in between these two numbers, definitely it should cross x-axis. Of course, I am not saying exactly one time. It may be infinite number of times or finite number of times. It may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times also. But what I can give guarantee is that at least one time, it should cross the x-axis. Is it true or not? Is it true or not? Now, can you give me any graph without crossing on the x-axis if the function is continuous? You may say like this, sir. I will draw like this, sir, and I will give gap. See this, sir. So it is not crossing, it is not intersecting x-axis, sir. Not like this, without lifting the pen. That means the function must be continuous. Then definitely it should cross the x-axis. Okay? Or some student may say like this, sir, it may cross the
Straight line.
x-axis, but not in between x-axis, sir. So you can draw graph like this, sir. No, then that is
No,
not a
sir.
function.
No wrong.
We are discussing about the functions. See this graph. Now at this point, it is intersecting. It is intersecting x-axis at 2 times. Okay, and therefore, in between A and B, the graph should intersect the x-axis at least once. So that is we can state this as intermediate value theorem. Actually, another statement is there for intermediate value theorem. So we can remember this also as alternate one for intermediate value theorem. So write this statement. Write this statement. If f is a continuous function, f is a continuous function which is defined in closed interval a comma b, in closed interval a comma b, and f of a comma f of b, f of a comma f of b have opposite signs, then
Yes, sir.
there exists at least one C belongs to open interval a comma b such that f of c is equal to 0. Such that f of c is equal to 0. Isn't it? So definitely in between A and B, the graph should cross x-axis. That means at that point, image is 0. Okay. Any doubt regarding this? Now we'll do a problem on this. So Snehita.
Sir, f of x is equals to y plus 2 doesn't touch, y is equals to 2 doesn't touch x-axis, no sir.
F of x is equal to?
Y plus 2 is equals to 0.
What is that y plus 2?
I mean, okay, y is equals to 2, sir. If f of x is equals to f of x is equals to y plus 2, sir.
So you are saying y plus 2 is equal to 0.
Yes, sir. It doesn't touch x-axis, no, sir.
It doesn't touch.
X-axis, no, sir.
Y plus 2 is equal to 0 means y is equal to
Minus 2.
minus 2. That means
0
what is f
minus
of a? Ante,
Sir?
for any number it is minus 2. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what is f of a?
F
Minus
of
2.
a minus 2.
What is f of b?
Minus 2.
Minus 2. Both have same sign or opposite sign.
Same.
But what is the statement here?
Okay. Okay,
na?
sir. Mm.
Right. Okay. So
Okay.
see how we can use this in solving the problems. Write down if 0 less than alpha less than beta less than gamma less than pi by 2, then the equation 1 by x minus sin alpha plus 1 by x minus sin beta plus 1 by x minus sin gamma is equal to 0. If 0 less than alpha, less than beta, less than gamma, less than pi by 2, then the equation 1 by x minus sin alpha plus 1 by x minus sin beta plus 1 by x minus sin gamma is equal to 0 has. So real roots or imaginary roots, real and equal, real and unequal, that is the question. So whether the roots are real and equal, real and unequal, imaginary, like that the question is there. See, first of all, we take LCM. So if you take LCM, x minus sin alpha into x minus sin beta into x minus sin gamma, what will be the numerator? X minus sin beta into x minus sin gamma, right? Plus x minus sin alpha into x minus sin gamma plus x minus sin alpha x minus sin beta is equal to 0. And by cross multiplication, so this into 0 becomes this, and therefore I can neatly write this statement instead of this. Simply I can write this x minus sin alpha into x minus sin beta plus x minus sin alpha into x minus sin gamma plus x minus sin alpha into x minus sin beta is equal to 0. The right three, alpha, beta, gamma, beta, gamma. Simply I can write like this. Sir, why you are saying this problem in this chapter, sir? Now see, x square. It is a quadratic equation now. That's why you can give this problem in this chapter. You can give this problem in this trigonometry chapter because sin alpha, sin beta, sin gamma are there. You can give this problem in calculus chapter because intermediate value theorem is in calculus. But see here, just quadratic expression is always continuous. You know, every quadratic expression is parabola. It may be like this, it may be like this, it may be like this, but it won't be discontinuous. Always the graph is continuous. So this is a quadratic expression. It is continuous. And see, suppose I name it as f of x. Now I want to know what is f of sin alpha. First of all, you know, wait, silence please. Silence. So f of sin alpha. Okay. So see this one, this is 0, and what is that? Sin alpha minus sin gamma into sin alpha minus sin beta. So it's given that alpha less than beta less than gamma are all in first quadrant only. In first quadrant, sine is increasing. So sine alpha less than sine beta less than sine gamma. And therefore, you can understand that this is negative and this is negative. Negative into negative, it is positive. Okay. And therefore, next, f of sine beta. What is f of sine beta? You will get 0 here. You will get 0 here. This is sine beta minus sine alpha into sine beta minus sine gamma. Sine beta is greater than sine alpha positive, but it is negative, so negative. And f of sine gamma. Sine gamma is there 0. Sine gamma minus sine gamma 0. But here sine gamma minus sine alpha into sine gamma minus sine beta. This is positive and this is also positive, so greater than 0. See, once again, what we have done is consider the equation. We have taken LCM and we have simplified this. This expression is equal to 0. We observe that this is a quadratic equation. So we are observing the nature of the sign of the expression. If we substitute sin alpha, sin beta, sin gamma. If you substitute sin alpha in place of x, this becomes 0 and this becomes 0 and this becomes this one. So sin alpha less than sin beta less than sin gamma, and you can clearly understand that this is greater than 0. Similarly, this is less than 0 and similarly this is greater than 0. And now use intermediate value theorem. So where? I can write here. So sin alpha is here. It is in between 0 and 1. Because alpha, beta, gamma belongs to 0 to pi by 2. In between 0 and 1 are there. Sin alpha, sin beta, sin gamma. Okay. So if you put x is equal to sin alpha, what is f of sin alpha positive? The value I don't know. Value I don't know, but just it is positive. F of sin beta less than 0, it is negative. F of sin gamma, again positive, I don't know the value, but it is positive. And now you draw the graph, because it is a parabola, it is a continuous graph. Definitely, you have to cross here, in between these two sin alpha and sin beta. And to reach there, again you have to cross x-axis, in between sin beta and sin gamma. And now tell me, how many times it crosses the x-axis? 2 times. So those are the roots of fx is equal to 0. So definitely this is one root and this is one root. And it will have 2 roots, real roots and distinct roots. See, that is the nature of the questions in general in advanced examinations. Okay? And now you can ask doubts. So what is the final answer? The roots are real and different for the given equation. Sir, can you give me the roots? No, I cannot give the roots. So you won't ask the roots also. You will ask the number of real roots like that only. Okay? And now you can ask doubts. Rahul, what is the doubt?
Sir, the roots are real and
Different.
different. Okay, sir.
Akash,
So what is the meaning of continuous graph?
continuous graph means no break. Okay, so you have to continuously work hard means, so without break you have to work hard. That is the word.
And
So
this is
without
also
break
possible.
means the graph should not be like this. It should be no breaks.
So, and
So without lifting the pen, you have to draw the graph.
so in this theorem, sir, we have to. It is not breaking, sir. The graph. Intermediate theorem, sir. We can't use.
I have given you continuous function.
So means we cannot use non-continuous function.
That is not useful for non-continuous functions. Okay.
So if it is passing through x-axis and a hollow circle is there, sir, on x-axis, then it
What is
can
that?
pass.
What is Akash?
So if the graph is passing through the x-axis, sir, and on the x-axis hollow circle is there, means it is not defined.
That
there.
is not continuous at that point.
So then that is not applicable in this theorem.
That is definitely not applicable. When the graph is continuous only, we can apply.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right. So I will ask Yogananda. Yogananda.
Can you hear me?
Yogananda, voice is very low.
Sir, in the statement which you made, if f of x is a continuous function which is defined in closed interval a comma b, why can't we consider open interval a comma b?
So the interval must be closed interval. Okay.
Sir, why can't we
So
consider
when open interval is there, then what you can say about f of a and f of b?
f of a?
So you are saying open interval means you are not defining at a and b. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So definitely you have to say closed interval, right? Right, students? So we'll meet in the afternoon session. So if we meet in the afternoon session, if there is a class, definitely we can do problems in the previous mains and advanced examination questions. Okay. So how they are given, we can see.